We're going to learn about other utility classes which are going to be available within your Webflow project using client first. So the very first one is related to the buttons. So buttons, we have the regular button, which is simply going to be this basic class. And we have also the ability to create a secondary and even potentially third other type of special buttons using the IS secondary class. So if we have a look again at Webflow, you can see that we have the regular button, which is this one right here. And then when the IS small class is applied, you can see that we have a smaller version of this button. Now we also have the IS large and the IS secondary. So basically this is for the sizing. This is going to be for the secondary buttons. And of course you can create more styling. So you can always go ahead and add to the basic styling and expand as much as you can, as you want, actually, the style guide which you have here at your disposal. And this is going to be quite easy to apply. There is also a pro tip: add style flex or grid with gap to a button with label and icon. And one very useful class which I highly recommend you to keep in mind is the button group, because a lot of the times you're going to have situations where you have maybe a primary button and then a secondary call to action, which is going to need to be on the same line. And they have this button group, which is going to come in real handy. So as you can see, if I create a duplicate of this button, we now, if we check on the navigator, we have these two buttons. But if I go ahead and create a div, which I'm going to add here, and we are simply going to drag and drop these two buttons over here, and perhaps I could apply to the second button a is secondary. So we have this variation. Now, if I go ahead and write in, now if I go ahead and again select the block and I write in button group, you can see that now we have this flexbox group applied, and we have this nice distancing between one button and the other. So just a very quick and nice way to create button groups. And another utility which is quite useful is the ones regarding the icons. So you can set the height size, which is going to be either small, medium, or large for the icons. And you can also set the height and width. So this one is going to essentially tell us both of these values, and you can see here the RAM values applied. So I'm not sure that there is an icon section within client first, but or actually there is. So you can actually see the different icons sizes which you can set up directly from here. We have icon height small, icon height medium, which is a bit bigger, large, and then we have this variations with 1x1 small, medium, or large. So those are going to be useful in some specific scenarios where you're going to use icons. And now let's talk about another set of utility classes which are going to come in handy from time to time. The first one being the hide element. So there's going to be instances where whenever you're creating a responsive version of your maybe a specific section, or you're dealing with a specific image or element that you don't want it to view that size either in all of the sizes, or in just the tablet or the mobile landscape or the mobile portrait. So for example, if I go ahead and select this class and I add it to this text, useful utility systems, hide mobile portrait. You can see that we're going to basically visualize it. If I can find it again over here uh, on a tablet, on mobile landscape. It's going to be this very same thing. But if we go on mobile portrait, you're not going to see it any longer. So this is a very fast way to basically add some responsive indications to any element in your Webflow project. Then we have the overflow feature, which this one is going to be fairly straightforward. If you had a look at the video where we discussed the overflow, you can essentially quickly set the overflow hidden, scroll auto, or align center directly by utilizing a class. You can also change the background color. Again, this one should be pretty self-explanatory. Highly recommend you to simply set up the primary and secondary colors and also the dark according to your brand guidelines, and you should be good. And then we also have, very similarly to what we saw with some of the previous classes, you can set the limit width of an element, and specifically the max or the minimum width. So you can select and apply these values very quickly. So please have a look at it, and you're going to be able to do that very easily. You can also turn on the mouse events on the element, or turn off the mouse events on that very specific element. And you can also set a z-index, which is going to be helpful whenever you're going to deal with multiple elements. You need to give a visual hierarchy, almost like layers in Photoshop, to tell which one comes first and which one is comes afterwards. You can also align center, which real fast is essentially going to apply a CSS property of margin and zero auto. And you can also dictate the layer and display inline flags. Now, I'm highly recommending you to check out also this section, which very briefly, global styles, it's going to be a component that is going to be applied and must be applied in every single page in the project. So whenever you create actually using the boilerplate template of client first, you're going to have a global style applied to that. And you can also learn more about all this in the documentation. So again, we went through quite in detail regarding the quick guide, but if you want to learn more in detail with maybe more example about any specific section in this guide, feel free to have a look at their documentation, because it's always going to be the most up-to-date resource in order to find anything related to client first. So really excited about the journey ahead. So let's continue with the next video.